We got a brand new raid. Let's go. 0 turns. Yep, of course. Rinse and repeat. I'm still enjoying it. Don't judge me. This one was actually a little harder to pull off. In fact, all of these are getting a little more difficult to do. It is the same strategy here and there, but I don't know. As the bosses get tankier, as the brave damage reduction increases, you really have to look where your damage is going and where you're throwing your hits at. So that's what I tried to manage here to the best of my abilities, and it worked. Challenge quest is done already too. I'm gonna have to do commentary and upload that one after this. I ran with Arden, BT, and LD. Renoa with the LD, which I got in like 30 tickets, by the way. Very happy about that. I'm loving the new Renoa. I don't really know how to use her that well. She's very different than from when I used her, because I never even used her when she got EX+. Like, my Renoa knowledge is limited to the Renoa that we got when we were all pulling and prepping for Cosmos. Since then, I have not used Renoa. So, we don't have a lot to learn about how to rotate with her, what to do. It seems like you have options, where it's just, do you want support or do you want attack? But in the challenge quest run, I was just switching between the two constantly. Whether it made sense or not as far as being protected or wanting damage, I was just trying to get the EX up as soon as possible and drop some meteors. And it worked out. And my third slot for that was my Maria, 3 out of 3. Worked out well. Lots of battery, lots of healing, with a guy who can't die. So, how do you lose that challenge quest with that team? I don't know. What I'm very excited for is the plethora of tickets that we're supposed to be getting. Now, they did mention on the Square Enix stream that they are running the ticket rewards a lot differently than they did for the Japanese version. The Japanese version, I don't know exactly how much you had to do, but apparently, from what I've heard, it was a long, tedious, ridiculous grind. The same fight over and over and over and over again. It just made you go crazy. So what Global decided to do was split the rewards up. So we're getting just as much, but half of it is here, and half of it is some other co-op events unrelated to any of this that we're supposed to get later, where it looks like we're going to fight some mankins or something. I don't know exactly, but that's what it looks like. But as long as we're going to get ripped off and, you know, we're still getting the exact same rewards, I'm cool with that. My only complaint, and it's barely a complaint to be honest, it's just something that I would prefer to not be the case, even though it doesn't really matter. I'm just picky about stuff. But if I'm remembering correctly, it seems as though, unlike the Japanese version, we're getting some of those rewards, then the Edward banner, and then the rest of the rewards. Whereas in JP, if you just got your notes to the grindstone and got it done, you could stock up all those tickets for Edward if you wanted to. You still technically can, because I believe that the second half of the reward batch will go live while the Edward banner is still there. So it's not like you can't go back if you missed out on a skin or something. So it should work out fine. I think that's my next goal, Edward, because next challenge quest that I can think of is, yeah, it's Kimahri's Lost Chapter. And I might change this when the time actually comes, but as of right now, I am not planning on pulling that whatsoever. And I hate to say it because I like those characters. I like them both, but I don't even need to explain it. This game and Final Fantasy X, I mean, everybody knows how they've treated Final Fantasy X and how they're going to continue to treat Final Fantasy X for a long time. That one, Final Fantasy X, that game, and Final Fantasy V are currently the only main series Final Fantasy games that do not have any characters with birth weapons in the Japanese version. To this very day. They've done protags and villains for basically every other series. Like, they're almost done, and they haven't even touched those two games. But Final Fantasy V is at least getting, you know, good reworks and stuff. Like the Ferris LD is amazing. for example. Trials LB that comes out way before that is very good. I don't know anything else from Final Fantasy V that we'll get, but just those two alone are great. Final Fantasy X gets none of that, and it's unfortunate. So, and no Riku? Oh man. I don't really feel like complaining about that. I don't care that much, but Riku would be cool to have. And I won't lie, like Final Fantasy X isn't even one of my favorites from the series. I do like the game, but if I were to like make a list of favorites, for me it wouldn't even be in the top 5. That's just my preference. But I still like the characters, and I still think that Square should do some more for Final Fantasy X in this game. I really do. So hopefully that just means that they are saving like the best for last, like some really just game-breaking, unique, and most importantly, fun stuff to do for the Final Fantasy X characters in this game when they're bursts. Which also makes me wonder, is it going to be Jack, Seymour, or both who get bursts? I don't know. If they're following, like Dissidia NT, probably going to be Jack. But who knows? I mean, hell, they just released a character from the Advent Children movie, not even a game, a Final Fantasy VII movie, before they update Final Fantasy X. That's crazy stuff to me. Well, hey, now that I've spent half of this video talking about that sort of stuff, their life is more than half gone. Yeah, I'm more than convinced this is currently the best team we have, even with all the newer stuff we're getting. This team is the best team. This brave damage reduction is serious, though. Look at that. Oh. He should be hitting way harder than that. But it's going to be okay. We at least got a little bit of battery to build up to it. We got launches along the way. The damage is still good, so I can't really complain about that. Ah, see, here's what I'm thinking about. That's why I stalled. Okay, will he come out of break? Because I need to even damage out to X-Death over there. But whom, by the way, I think is the bigger threat of the two. I think it's X-Death. I think he's a bigger problem than the Planescorcher. He tends to be more expanding, and he can build up more brave, it seems. So yeah, I would suggest focus on X-Death. If you're if you're struggling and he's the guy who keeps like driving your team, get him out first. As far as I can tell, there's no rage in any of this. It's not like you kill one and then the other one goes crazy. They're both bad enough as is. Yeah, I don't like this part of this. It seems rare to me whenever they add in the rage mechanic for like there's two bosses, you kill one, the other one gets mad. Like I don't think of. I think there's one instance I could think of where they actually had that be two different enemies. And I don't mean like two of the same. I mean, okay, I'll just say it. Tier 12. The first wave. The Agrius boss, that floating monstrosity with all the buffs. And then that nightmare horse from the Vainlust chapter. You kill the horse first. That Agrius soldier boss, he rages, he floats, he gets all crazy. So apparently I guess it's not who the enemies are fighting with. It's just a game mechanic that they have, which makes sense. I don't know why it would. Yeah, there's no way it would trigger the other way. That would make sense. If they coded it to do a certain thing when a certain thing happens, regardless of who he's fighting alongside. But point being, I don't think I've seen much of that. Unless I've never tried it myself. On tier 15, kill the Charlotta Dragon before you kill the Count Steve Dragon, does it rage? Except remember, those things had one of the worst rage mechanics ever. They just cleansed everything, put it up so you couldn't really buff them, and then they would just spam the Steve Burst. I don't know if they do that on tier 15 though, if you kill the dragon first. No idea, I haven't tried it. Speaking of that, tier 16 is coming out pretty soon too, in like 2 weeks, I want to say, something like that. Should be exciting. That's the very last wave is the demon. Keep your launchers at home. Although I'm sure launchers will be helpful in the first few waves, but yeah, I'm not going to bring a launcher if there's anything that can't be launched. But sorry guys, you've been the DE Slayer for me since you came out, but you're going to have to sit this one out. You're probably going to stay in tier 15. But I don't know, maybe there will be a time when I free you. But as of right now, now's not that time. Okay, how is this damage between the two targets? About even. X-Death has a little bit more, not much. But yeah, it's about even. So that's nice. So he's got 2 turns on that buff, right? Yeah, so make the most of them. Jump behind that Noctis. Everybody's still good. Definitely a good amount of instances in this video where I just had to stop and think, like, okay, how do I not wear this out? Like, because it's not just, oh, he's got the buff up, cool, press a button. No, especially with Keiss, because he jumps around everywhere. You have to time wherever you're gonna put his turn so that he doesn't get too many turns and wear the buff out. Yeah, do you see that reduction? He was only hitting over 2,000 brave damage at the very end. That's very low. Last one. Now or never. Yeah, do you see how much I'm stalling? That's kind of crazy. But we did get another launch in, which is great. Always a good thing when you're launching like crazy. We move this back, they're both still alive. Come on, Noctis. Get this done. Yeah, see, I'm probably over-analyzing here, but I just didn't want to lose it. Did not want to lose it. Was that shooting star enough to kill the Planesgorger with Splash? I don't remember. Yes, it was. Perfect. I've been getting so sick of fighting this thing. I really hope that we're nearing the end of fighting it. I want it to just go away. I think we are. Because it wasn't until the interlude that we got this thing, and that kind of kicked off all of this. So now that this is coming to a close, hopefully the excessive fights with the Planesgorger will come to a close. It should. Given everything else that's going on, it should. I realize that probably press the EX.
It didn't matter either way. I just wanted to be sure that I wasn't going to get a turn off.
And that's that. What's done is done. Challenge quest next. Until then, thank you for watching.